it's Amanda here, and today we're doing a build your own palette video. These are some of the most fun videos for me to make. I always enjoy creating my own color stories and also just taking an excuse to go through my singles, use some makeup that's been in my collection for a while, and just be re-inspired by things that I already have. If you've been around this channel for a while, you know not only do I love building my own palettes and creating my own color stories, but I also am an avid reader. My monthly favorites often include my favorite books. So for today's video, I wanted to create a palette that was inspired by the cover of one of my recent favorite books. This is the book that I'm drawing my inspiration from. It's one of my favorites that I read in 2023. It's called My Roommate is a Vampire. The book itself is really funny and sweet, and I just enjoyed the whole story. There were some unexpected twists and just overall a very fun and approachable and quirky, and I enjoyed it all around. And I also really enjoy this cover art. I think it fits the book perfectly, and I find the whole thing very inspiring. I like the juxtaposition of the different colors. I like the separation of each side. I found it very easy to be inspired by this book cover. So I built an 18 pan palette, 9 shades for each half of the book cover. So I want to show you the process of putting this palette together. I'll show you some swatches, and I also want to show you a couple of eye looks. I did one eye look from each side of the palette, and I know that this type of presentation makes it seem like these are two different palettes that just happen to be squished in side by side. But I really did try to curate this not just as two 9-pan palettes squished together, but as a cohesive and interesting 18-pan palette. So I'm going to take you through the shades I chose, why I chose them, where the inspiration came from, and I'm also going to show you the process of creating these two very different eye looks. I'm also going to use a couple of these ColourPop Multichrome eyeliners. These are newer. I reviewed them on my channel about a week ago, but I just didn't have the ability to actually use them in a tutorial at that time. That video I was sort of putting together on the fly, but now I have time to use them, and I'll tell you, I've been wearing these for a while and they still look really good, so I'm impressed. I'm not going to start reviewing these. You'll get to see them in action in the tutorial portion. First, let's start with the palette build. This little palette has become my favorite for building my own palettes. I bought this off Amazon. I'm pretty sure it was only like $10. I love that there's a mirror in here. I just really like the shape and size of this one. This palette perfectly fits 18 regular, like standard size, smaller eyeshadow pans. So my plan is to do 2 sort of 9 pans to represent the 2 halves of this book cover. And I want them to all flow together, but I also want them to distinctly represent the cover of this book. You can see there's a more dark and purpley side with the vampire depicted there. That's Frederick. And then we have a light, bright, colorful side with our little artist girly. That's Cassie's side. So I want these 2 palettes to be distinct, but also work well together as one palette. So I'm working first on the Frederick side, that's the vampire side. I don't want it to be all neutral. There is a lot of color depicted here. We have some deep purples, we have some gray, we have some little pop of a reddish color here. So I want to bring out some of the color as well because I do want it to mesh well with the Cassie side of the book. For this palette I'm building, I want a good even mix of different types of textures, and I will be pulling from a couple different single shadow collections, so you're going to see a mix of different brands represented in here. Whenever I do these build your own palette videos, the overall goal for me isn't necessarily to inspire you to go out and buy these exact same shades and make the exact same palette, but more to just show you my process of curating colors together and encouraging you to just go through your own collection and work with what you already have. That's what I'm doing in all of these videos. Something like Sleeper from ColourPop, for example, I've had in my collection for years, and I probably haven't touched it in a good 6 or 12 months. So it's really great to go back through and rediscover some older gems that have just been waiting for love in my collection. And by remixing them into different new color stories, it almost makes me see them in a new light. So I really enjoy the whole process of putting together new color combinations from different inspiration. I actually came up with this idea for a holiday season collaboration. I did a bunch of those in December and it just ended up not working out, but I still really loved the idea, and it was sort of a spin-off of something that I've done previous, being inspired by book covers to create my own palettes. So I wanted to bring this idea back out, and I really love the way that this whole color collection works together. You can definitely see two distinct color stories, but they still make sense all together. And even though I'm going to use them separately for my different eye looks just to pay homage to this book cover, I do really feel that these colors will mix and match well together because there is a nice blend of more moody and deep colors mixed in with some really bright, bold colors and a couple of softer, not necessarily a lot of neutrals, but there's a decent mix of neutrals in here too. So I can see so many dozens of eye looks coming out of this little 18 color collection here. When you see the whole palette all together, the goal for me was to make a more soft, not necessarily neutral top row, but I'd say they're more neutral adjacent colors in the top row, then a nice bold, bright middle row, and then some deepening colors on the bottom row to add some more drama. Even though they were built as two separate 9 pans in the process that you watched, I still kept in mind the full cohesive color story and what it would look like as an 18-pan palette. I think it matches the inspiration really well, and I can see the colors from not just the cover, but also kind of reminds me of the characters in the story too. So whoever designed this cover did an amazing job. It fits the story perfectly. And I think that was really able to translate into an eyeshadow palette too. Here are all of the colors swatched together on my arm. I can definitely see so many different looks coming out of this one, from breezy and neutral to bright and bold and even kind of moody and dark too. But the textures in here are just playing off of each other. I love that little pop of multichrome. I love the deep, dark, sparkly matte shade. Even though that's not my personal favorite eyeshadow, I think it is just perfect for this particular palette. Now that you've seen the shades that I chose and all of the shadows swatched together, let's jump into a couple of eye looks using my Roommate is a Vampire inspired palette, and I'll wrap up all my thoughts along the way. I'm going to start by priming both of my eyes with my Ulta matte eye primer, but I am going to work on just one eye at a time when it comes to the actual tutorial. That way I don't get myself all confused and start putting the wrong color on the wrong eye. So we're going to start with the Frederick side, the vampire side first. I want to try to use as many of these colors as possible without going full crazy palette bingo style. So I'm just using this matte gray shade called Take the Lead from ColourPop first to add some depth and shadow to the eye, because I know I want to do a more smoky, dark eyeshadow look on this side. Then I'm using Royal from Terra Moons, and I'm going to start packing that down on the outer and inner corners of my eye. I will have to add more later, but for now I'm just sort of mapping out where I want to build this spotlight effect on my actual lid. My smoky eye looks always work out better for me if I start slow and build up with light layers. So I'm just blending out the edges there with Take the Lead again. Then I'm going to add this very foily metallic shade called Grape Teeny from Terra Moons onto the center part of my lid. This is a gorgeous royal purple, very bluish purple type of color. Then to deepen up and just further pronounce that spotlight shape, I mixed Night Dream and Royal. This is a vampire inspired look, so it definitely needs to be deep and sultry and smoky. And I was afraid to go in with the black at first, but it really leveled up that spotlight look. And because I didn't do too much and I really kept blending out with that lighter gray shade, I think that it still remained soft enough to look pretty good on my eye shape. Then I'm taking just a little bit of Twisted Shifter from Sydney Grace and tapping that on the center so that I get a dynamic reflection on the lid. I added this Multichrome liner called Actin' Up from ColourPop to my lower waterline, and then I smudged out that lower waterline area with Sleeper, also from ColourPop, to give just a really smoky little pop of red on the lower lash line. And then the last eyeshadow move here for me is Europa from Terra Moons as a highlight on the inner corner, and also really went in on the brow bone with that color because I wanted to have that otherworldly vampire skin type of reflection on the eye, especially on that brow bone area. Now I'm going to move over to the Cassis side, my other eye. I'm using Say I Do. This is a nice, soft, pretty baby pink shade. I'm putting that really liberally in the crease area with a big fluffy brush from Singe Beauty because I know I want a lot of coverage with this color. I'm doing a more freeform, smudgy, layered, watercolor inspired look since the protagonist, Cassie, is a painter, so I wanted this to be a lot less structured and just more free and layered of a look. So I'm adding a little bit of Fair Play, that's the darker pink, to the outer part of the crease and blending up towards my brow. Then I'm using Muscle Beach. This is a matte turquoise color, and on a flat brush, I'm packing that all around the inner corner of my eye. So up onto the inner part of my lid, and also sweeping that down below a little bit towards the lower lash line. To add some depth to the outer part of my lid, I'm taking Aurora Australis. This is a gorgeous, super shifty multichrome shade from Terra Moons, and I put that on the very outer part of my lid, filled in the rest of my lid space with this bright orangey yellow shade called Chauffeur from ColourPop. At this point, I thought I may have made a mistake and this look might have gotten away from me, but I feel like Light Speed, also from Terra Moons, really was able to bring everything back together. I just put a light layer of that across all of the shades on my lid, and I feel like that just made everything sort of blend and meld into this, not even an ombre, but it just blended to this beautiful mix and swirl of colors. It reminded me a lot of when you're painting and things always look so crazy before they come together. That was definitely my experience with this eye look. And for this side, I used the ColourPop Multichrome liner in the shade Movie Star. It's just a golden pinky orange, so it matches perfectly with some of the colors on that upper lid. Curled my lashes, added L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Mascara to both eyes, and I love the way that both of these looks turned out. Just to give you a bit of an idea, I ended up wearing these multichrome liners for probably 4 hours. And I will say that Actin' Up stayed put longer than Movie Star, so the darker purple shade lasted a lot longer. They both started to wear off on the outer part of my lower lash line, which always happens to me no matter what. But I did have to especially scrub these off to remove them. So I was pretty impressed with the wear time. I know 4 hours isn't a full day's wear, but I've been traveling. I've been making my videos on the fly. So that's why you're not seeing new stuff reviewed right now, because I can't review new stuff right now. But I can give you an update that these last pretty well for 4 hours. This palette in this video was so much fun to make. I love drawing inspiration from news sources, and I'm just feeling refreshed and re-inspired in 2024. Let me know if you want to see more BYOP videos. What type of inspiration do you want to see? Are we ready for another series? You know, I've done a couple BYOP series before, so I could bring back a series. I love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts and all of your suggestions down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Huh? I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't think so. Probably not. Cool, 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 cool. That's a wrap. That, in fact, is not a wrap. I have so much stuff to do. This is the perfect lipstick for this video because it looks good with either one of these eye looks. I mean, I could have just done a nude too, but where's the fun in that? I'm gonna wear plenty of nude lipsticks. Today, we're going berry. Multichrome liners. Ma'am, pay attention. Ma'am, you're interrupting my video, rude. Dang it. I swear. I annoy myself sometimes. I have to go pick my kid up from school like really soon, and I'm gonna have this crazy makeup on, and he's always like, "Oh, mom, what are you wearing?" He'll be fine. I love the dark, smoky, vampy side more than the colorful side. I mean, this is really fun too and cute, but this, I think I'm just in my vampy girl era right now because I've been going for like a lot smokier, more dramatic eye looks. I've been going for a lot deeper, vampier lip colors. I think I'm in my vampy era, and I honestly am thriving. I'm thriving in my vampy girl era, okay? I'm always gonna like sparkly and nude lips and lip balm, but you know, I'm having a vampy moment. And it's fun. I'm embracing it. This eyeliner is still hanging in here in the waterline, and I've probably been wearing this for like 2 hours now, so I think that's pretty good. I feel like my waterline eyeliner disappears on me really quickly, so I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but it's always a struggle for me. All right, that's it. Short and sweet this time. Although once I edit it, it probably won't be short and sweet. It just always feels short when I'm filming, and then when I go to edit, I'm like, oh, never mind. I have 2 hours of footage. So we'll see. Let me know your favorite books of late. I am always looking for suggestions. I crushed my reading goal last year, so I'm ready to crush my reading goal again this year. And also, I love your face. And I will see you back soon in another video. I'll be here, so I hope you'll be here. You want to know why? I bet you already know. It's because I love your face. Okay, bye.